Within the category of UFO sightings, there's one massive problem. Let the guy from Mars explain.
Strongest argument against aliens: camera resolution goes up, UFO picture resolution stays the same.
Blurry, grainy images. Because our phone cameras are designed for close-up cringy selfies and not UFOs taken in the distance. That is a problem with society. More aliens, less selfies, please.
The James Linker experience.
There has always been a rumor, a story about a crystal clear, high quality picture that was taken of a UFO. It has existed for decades. A photograph so powerful that it would once and for all end the debate as to whether we are alone in the universe. It was supposed to have been taken by two hikers in 1990, but never saw the light of day. Hidden away by the government for 30 years, the hunt for this photograph seemed a lost cause. That was until 2022, when journalist David Clarke visited the home of retired Royal Air Force press officer Craig Lindsay to find out if he had any information. What he got was a whole lot more. Thank you for watching the last video on the Mothman. For any of you nerds that missed it, it's linked above and below. Thank you so much. August the 4th, 1990. Two men had been working as chefs in the Scottish Highlands at a hotel in Pitlochry. I did it in one take, shut up. One evening, to escape the heat of the kitchen and to enjoy their leisure time, they decided to go for a walk in the hills of Calvine, which in Scottish is pronounced. They were hiking in a remote area with no other people anywhere in sight. This photo is of the exact location where people think that the event occurred. The hikers noticed something silently flying over them, and when they looked up, they were stopped dead in their tracks. They could not believe their eyes, as above them was a hovering object emitting a low humming noise. They also noticed fighter jets in the airspace where this object was. The jet would come in, seemingly take a look at the object and fly away. They estimated that the object was 31 meters long, then it shot straight up into the sky at incredible speeds, and they lost visual. But they did manage to capture something valuable: 6 photographs of the object. In awe at what they had seen and photographed, the two hikers set off as fast as they could to get back to civilization. They handed the negatives of the pictures to the Scottish newspaper, the Daily Record. Amazed at what they had received, the newspaper sent the negatives to the Ministry of Defence. Rule number 1, if you ever picture aliens or UFO, don't send it to the government. That ends well 0% of the time. The photographs were never to be seen again. Hidden under classified categories, the Calvine UFO vanished from public record, and the legend of the missing photographs was born. There was, however, a documented record of the description of the incident that the two hikers gave back in 1990. David Clarke, journalist aware of this documentation, has always been fascinated by the case, and like a dog with a juicy bone, he spent 13 years looking for these photographs. I spent 13 years trying to complete The Witcher 3. Which one is a more valuable use of your time? Exactly. After following dead end after dead end and being blocked at every turn by government insiders, Clarke received a lead that a retired military press officer may have information about the case. David Clarke met with retired officer Craig Lindsay. They spoke about the Calvine UFO sighting of 1990, and then Craig handed David an envelope. An envelope from the Daily Record. Inside the envelope was an original photo of the Calvine UFO. The clearest photograph ever taken of a UFO was released. Are you ready? Here it is. A large diamond-shaped object can be seen in the sky. Also in the frame can be seen a plane, perhaps a military plane that the hikers reported seeing. The object seems fairly large. It's clearly suspended in the sky. No puppet strings. It's a compelling photo of a UFO. Craig Lindsay had held on to the original envelope and photograph passed to the Ministry of Defence from the Daily Record, just hoping that one day someone would come looking for it. That person was David Clarke, 32 years later. They saw this thing in the sky and it scared them. They ran into some woodland to sort of keep their heads down, and they heard this jet come down the valley, and then 2 minutes later, it returned and started circling around the object, and that's when they took the photographs. The photograph was given to Vinnie Adams of UAP Media UK to publish. Adams said this: "It's been a privilege to work on this case with such a dedicated team of researchers. After 32 years and an intensive investigation, it feels good to be able to show this elusive photograph to the world." What do you think? Is this a UFO? Is it perhaps a kite where the perspective makes it look huge? Does it look metallic to you? The image is clear, but what it is hotly debated. David Clarke boringly thinks that it's not an alien mothership. Sadly, I do not think that mysterious aircraft arrived from another galaxy. I believe it was man-made somewhere in a secret hangar, and whatever it was remains on the secret list and highly sensitive. It is the theory that this may be the mythical Aurora hypersonic spy plane, a secret US government piece of technology. They say the aircraft doesn't exist. Of course they do. Other explanation attempts are this is a reflection of a rock from a pond below. It is perhaps a kite, a balloon, the Duff blimp. Enter Nick Pope, former head of the UK government's UFO research project. Nick Pope retired from working in the Ministry of Defence in 2006. Nick Pope has valid credentials. He worked in the Ministry of Defence and is seen as a UFO whistleblower. He also appears on every alien program you'll find on the History Channel. I'm not convinced by him. You will see clips of him being interviewed for all the ancient aliens and alien programs all over TV, and I just don't feel like he's the amazing source of information that TV producers feel like he is. He claims to have seen the original images whilst working at the Ministry of Defence. They knew the image was not altered or manipulated. This was a real object, and it shocked him. For many years before the photo was published in 2022, Nick Pope repeatedly talked about the Calvine UFO photos, and when it was finally released, he said this: "We consistently played down the true level of our interest in UFOs, telling Parliament, the media, and the public that the subject was of little interest, while all the time, behind closed doors, we struggled to make sense of cases like the Calvine incident." Pope cannot reveal all he knows due to the Official Secrets Act, but he also claims that the Ministry of Defence knew exactly what it was. He says that an intelligence officer ran through all the possible origins of the UFO. He said it wasn't Russian. He said it wasn't American. Then he looked at Pope and said there was only one possibility that remained. He pointed up. "My boss and I couldn't help looking up too. Then we looked at each other, and then we looked back at the intelligence officer. His face was inscrutable."
Aliens!
And what does inscrutable mean? To this day, the identity of the two hikers that took the photographs is unknown. Details of this case are still classified by the Ministry of Defence until 2076. Nah, I'm not going to make it. What are they hiding? And you won't be surprised to know that the negatives of the photos also disappeared. Craig Lindsay, who had the photo all of these years, says it is either an extremely clever hoax or it shows the real thing. The MOD have never verified the photo, but they have verified this image, a photocopy of an original UFO photo. Snap, did I win? They look eerily similar to me. The photocopied image was used to make a mock-up image of what people believed the Calvine photo looked like before the original was ever found. Again, the similarities, even with my eyesight, are striking. Photography expert Andrew Robinson from Sheffield Hallam University says, "My conclusion is that the object is definitely in front of the camera, i.e. it's not a fake produced in post-production, and its placement within the scene appears to be approximately halfway between the foreground fence and the Harrier jet in the background. Could this be a kite or radio-controlled model? It could be, but it would have to be a very large kite model, at least 20 to 30 meters long, if not longer." The image is real. It's not Photoshop. It's been combed over by every type of expert you can imagine. The Harrier jet has been authenticated as real and identified, and that object, whatever it was really there. But what it is, well, that's for you to decide.